This has the potential to cause even more problems for the elites, right? And this is one of their biggest concerns: copycat attacks, essentially having other people act in the same manner that Luigi Mangione acted, right? Targeting high-ranking officials in these big companies. And you actually have this woman right here, Florida woman, charged after allegedly threatening Blue Cross Blue Shield over a denied medical insurance claim. She appeared to be inspired by Luigi Mangione, saying over the phone, "Delay, deny, depose. You people are next." And she was arrested.
The nature of the threats, we would also be asking for GPS with house arrest conditions to protect the community.
With her head in her hands, Briana Boston learned she would be held in jail on $100,000 bond. The Polk County judge adding the bond was appropriate given the, quote, status of our country.
It's not like she's a child. She's 42 years old, so we're not dealing with a child here. She should certainly know better.
Lakeland Police Chief Sam Taylor says his department was contacted by the FBI Tuesday. Authorities say in a recorded phone call about a denied insurance claim, Boston told a Blue Cross Blue Shield employee, quote, delay, deny, depose. You people are next, end quote. The language matches the words police say were written on the shell casings found at the UnitedHealthcare CEO's murder scene in New York City.
We will take this very seriously, and we will put you in jail if you do something like this. It is not a joke.
According to Boston's affidavit, the mother of three told police she did not own firearms and was not a danger to anyone. But she added, healthcare companies played games and deserved karma because they are evil. Similar to the accused shooter in Manhattan, Boston is getting support online from people who say that she was just sharing her opinion and should be protected by the First Amendment, but police do not see it that way. She's facing a second-degree felony of written threat to kill or injure, conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism, a serious charge that she could end up in prison for 15 years. Reporting live in Lakeland,
I think that's absolute bullshit. I mean, this is exactly what I meant earlier when I said that they're terrified, okay? This is an effort to send a message to the elites, to send a message to corporate America. We're tough on them. We're not going to stand for this. That's bullshit. Okay, she has a right to say what she wants to say. It is not like she said she was going to go out and do something to these people, right? When you're saying you people are nice, it's not necessarily mean that I'm going to be the one to do it. It's saying that you people are more likely going to be next because you're engaging in the same type of predatory behaviors that cost somebody else their life. It's complete nonsense how they're trying to clamp down and terrify people. Their biggest concern right now is other people acting like Luigi. Other people having this woman, like she said, she doesn't have any firearms. She's frustrated. The cop over there is saying how, it's not like we're dealing with a child. She's 42 years old. She should know better, et cetera, et cetera. Where is the frustration or the connection to the pain that these people are feeling when they're getting disregarded and denied by these insurance companies? She's just expressing herself and her frustrations. I think it's completely illogical and it's screwed up for them to sit there and do that to her. Like, you're not going to bully people into behaving how you want them to behave in the face of the gentleman. The officer sat there and said, given the status of the country, where does this frustration come from? So now it's like, oh, we're not going to tolerate people saying this. So now people can't even relate to that frustration. Did she say she was going to go out and murder the CEO of that particular health insurance company? No. You people are next. Because people are going to continue feeling frustrated, and this is going to be their reaction. They're not going to be sympathetic to the health of CEOs and, all these people in the health industry. Like, no, they're not. People don't care. Like, people are fed up. And now you want to arrest people for expressing their frustration. No, that's nonsense. That lady should be freed. She did not make an actual threat. She did not say she was going to go out and commit an act of violence against anybody. She didn't say that. And this is what I meant, how this particular young man's actions may serve as the catalyst to more people committing these types of acts. And as far as the public is concerned, we're safe. So there's no way police officers can come out here and try to make the public feel like, oh my God, he's a danger, they're a menace to society. No, we're safe. We have nothing to do with that. We have absolutely nothing to do with that. This situation or these types of situations involve three particular people, right? The assailant, the police, and the victim, who's more than likely going to be, one of these healthcare workers or whatever the case may be, right? If the actions are taken within the context and as it relates to some of these ongoing problems. So what does this mean? I mean, is this like, what is your take on it? Do you guys also condemn Luigi Mangione, much like the media has, much like a lot of these politicians and a lot of these other people in the media are doing? Or do you guys understand why he did it? And is he, I mean, we're at a point where some people are looking at him like some type of martyr. Like, some people really appreciate his actions because they look at it as a possible catalyst to establishing some type of change in the US. That people say violence is never the answer, but sometimes that's bullshit. Just like in that post that I was just reading, sometimes that's not the case. I mean, look at what happened during the French Revolution, right? And we're boiling down towards these. If you look at it, it becomes like we can even have a conversation on Marxism, right? When you have conversations about the proletariats and then the bourgeoisie, this is what he spoke about. And this is the biggest fear, right? That capitalists, those who are in power, the bourgeoisies, the owners of production, fear the most, is when stuff like this starts to happen, right? When members of the proletariat, and he even wasn't really a member of the proletariat because his family was wealthy. He was a brilliant young lad, fantastic grades, valedictorian at his high school. I mean, the kid, he was into robotics. Brilliant. But I think his actions spoke on a deeper level, like his passions and his perspectives related to the common man far more than they related to the elite, far more than it related to members of corporate America, right? Because for whatever reason, he seems to identify with the proletariat. And this is possibly why he may have went ahead and did what he did, right or wrong. But what I'm trying to say is this is a big concern. And this case, like I said, could be the catalyst to change in America, or at least the very beginning of it, right? Because members of the bourgeoisie are concerned about, at least what Karl Marx was saying, was that eventually capitalism will fail because the members of the proletariat will rise up and depose the bourgeoisie. In other words, commoners will stand up to the elites and get rid of them. And at that point, socialism will be enacted and capitalism will be wiped out, because capitalism cannot survive without taking advantage of people. The only way capitalism thrives is when the bourgeoisie continues to abuse, manipulate, and extract work and time from the proletariat. And this is why we're living in a system where college is extremely expensive, healthcare is expensive, right? Groceries are expensive, right? Housing is expensive. Hell, even entertainment is expensive. So the only way that things can move forward is if people are put in the positions where resources are so minute, right, that people have to desperately fight just to survive. Just to survive. And the longer you're kept in survival mode, the less you have time to sit back and think and reflect on society, reflect on the expectations that, you're supposed to have as a human being, because you're just too busy trying to survive. You got a family at home. You don't have time to protest. You don't have time to even lounge and have these, pontificate on these elaborate and philosophical conversations. You don't have time for that. You're working 9 to 5. You got to wake up early. You got to go to work. You got to, put in overtime, come back. You're tired. You're exhausted. You got to take care of your kids. You got to take care of your son. You got to take care of your daughter, pay the bills. There used to be a point in time in America where a family, could survive with just having, one income in the house, whether it would be the husband working or vice versa. But no, a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And now it's gotten to the point where it's like people need to work. You may have, a home where both parents are working, and it's become a necessity in order for the family to even maintain. right? In order for them to be able to save money to send their kids to college. And even then, when you send your kids to college, they got to take loans. It's a whole system that takes advantage of those who are less fortunate. It's as if you're wealthy, then you're in a position to take advantage of the system that's at stake here, or the system that's been set, excuse me. But when you don't have that background, right, it becomes extremely difficult to navigate through society. And then you have people who defend capitalism because they hold on to the idea that they too may have an opportunity to become wealthy. And my question is this: so even if you were to become wealthy, then what? Then you would employ the same tactics and methods that other capitalists have employed in the past, those same methods that kept others like you poor in the past, right? So it's what George Carlin used to say. It's like they keep a carrot in front of you, and you're chasing the carrot and hope that you're going to become wealthy as well. You're going to become rich as well. But eventually, stuff like this starts to happen. And when a lot of these types of issues erupt in our society, the more people may start to think. And the fact that when this occurred, the vast majority of the public did not condemn him, huge red flag. It's a huge red flags to the members of the bourgeoisie, to corporate Americans, to the elitists, because they're like, wait a minute, they're not going to condemn him. He just murdered somebody. In other words, and the fact that he wasn't even, like, he was conscious enough to consider possibility, the fact that he was conscious enough to consider a possible method of eliminating his target without incurring a risk to the public speaks volume. And not just to his mind state, but also how the public perceives him. A terrorist has no care for the public. They would blow up, an individual, and if it means hurting innocent people, so be it. So be it. In fact, sometimes they hope to involve and injure, innocent parties just so they could get their point across, or just so they could apply pressure on their intended target, whether it's a government or whatever the case may be. So this is why we've reached a point where a lot of people don't seem to really condemn him. And it's understandable. It's understandable. And the media can say however much they want, but the American people are sick and tired. If you guys enjoy the video, you guys enjoy the content, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out a great deal. As you know, I'm a very small channel. I'm aiming to grow and, of course, inform the public, and so we can continue to have these conversations and engage in civil discourse. It's always a pleasure for me to speak with you guys. And yeah, man, if you guys have any thoughts, please feel free to post them in the comments section.